Hi, um, I'm Rachel Hanikowski. I'm a student at Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick, Canada. I am a candidate for the Prime Minister's Youth Council, and I am a writer and an advocate for girls with disabilities. I wrote a personal essay on the politics of marginalization that I would like to share with you. The umbrella of marginalization based on class, race, ethnicity, social and economic background, ability, etc., are often experienced by individuals, accompanied by feelings of powerlessness, and further, the hegemonic structure of widespread social inequality across the world are cemented in a societal rhetoric of powerlessness, helplessness, and disenfranchisement. Women, people with disabilities, non-gender identifying persons, the LGBTQ community, the racialized, and persons with disabilities all rest in a shared experience of loss of a huge variety. Whatever our struggle, we know what it means and how it feels to be valued at a rate that is less than others around us, and we suffer because of it. While people around the world grapple with the current political climate of the United States of America, the marginalized have an unprecedented opportunity to fight back against the forces that seek to take away agency, rights, and freedom. As a woman with a disability, so therefore I'm marginalized in two ways, I see this time in history, this awful time fraught with hostility, hatred, and bigotry, as fodder to continue in advocacy and in seeking peace and justice for all persons. As a Canadian, I know that my country will be deeply impacted by the results of the American election and the continued division that is sure to follow. The current climate of visceral and unapologetic hatred, bigotry, sexism, xenophobia, racism, ableism, and more is carelessly projected by the powerful, and it will affect every individual in the world, but will have the greatest impact on those who are already marginalized. The discourse of hatred is an obvious attempt to maintain unequal power structures, and we must realize this. Although the outcome of the election now leave many individuals, American and people around the world, grappling in shock and sadness, I believe that working towards a more just world has never been more important. This conviction is not partisan, it is not a front for any political party, but it speaks to the urgency of the social, political, and economic need for justice in light of what has occurred. As a marginalized person, I feel more motivated than ever to work towards a world in which all persons are treated by their governments with respect and dignity. If we do not work in all that we do in our personal lives, in our professional lives, in our personal politics, and in our beliefs towards peace, we will be forgoing a responsibility to one another, and we will be forgoing work towards the mitigation of climate change and the health of our planet. The sustenance of one another and of our world is of utmost importance, and we're not alone in this fight. Countless prominent individuals across the world, such as our current Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, from Barack Obama and his legacy of care and consideration, from Michelle Obama's work with children in poverty and girls and literacy awareness, from Goodwill Gender Equality Ambassador Emma Watson, to Gloria Steinem, to speakers such as Brené Brown. There are people in all parts of the world, and public intellectuals, professors that have taught me, and of which I'm very grateful to have been in their classrooms. There are people everywhere who will work with us, and we need not fear what could happen. To exemplify the potential consequences of the perpetuation of hegemonic inequality and of accepting the hatred that is now brought upon the American people, I will speak to my own struggle to be seen and heard while living in a body that holds the social connotation of helplessness and uselessness. I live with cerebral palsy and with neurotic mental illness, specifically generalized anxiety and depression. My disability itself is not a major inhibitor of a full and happy life. There are many different kinds of cerebral palsy, and I am lucky to have all my mental faculties intact. The issue I face is the psychosomatic inability of my anxiety to cope with the struggles of my physical inability, and I am left quite literally crippled because of it. My anxiety, coupled with the pain I feel of social norms that dictate oppressive attitudes and the perpetuation of stigma surrounding disability, often clutch onto me so tightly that I cannot breathe, and both my mind and body are in peril, frozen in the grasp of shame. However, the unprecedented history that took place on November the 8th during the American election has ignited within me a passion. The wool has been pulled from my eyes. There are much more important things than being anxious now. I walk out of my anxious entrapment, out of my insecurities, armed with the belief and the conviction that we are under threat, that the world's security is under threat, and that our stability and peace are being threatened. I will no longer succumb to the troubles anxiety has caused me, because there is simply too much to fight for at this point. I believe that all people, the poor and the privileged alike, must come together prepared to show tyranny it will not be met with fear or complacency. This is why I have chosen to apply to the Prime Minister's Youth Council. I think that we all need to use our talents to our best ability to make positive change in the world. I take each step in my disabled body now for every girl who struggles to walk, for every person who must endure the shame of a loss of independence and the ability to walk freely across this earth. We, the marginalized, must take up arms and work tirelessly with our allies in privileged positions and with our leaders to realize our potential. Once this is done and we transcend, we can fight properly for justice and for peace. We must fight for these things because the cost of apathy may very well leave us in a darker and more desperate position than when our personal battles began. Thank you.